This is the Hunt Quietly podcast. I'm Matt Ranella. Hey, dear listener, I want to see if I can get your help with something. You know, it's an incontrovertible fact that high quality, publicly accessible, non-pay hunting is in free fall decline in this country. And we're trying to do something about that, man. That's one of the main things we focus on in this podcast. Additionally, we also have a nonprofit, Hunters for Access, that tries to counteract negative trends in hunting access by showing appreciation to landowners that are enrolled in state-run programs that allow public hunting access. And we got a lot of events coming up, man. And some of these events cost money. We're hosting appreciation dinners to support access in Wyoming through the Access Yes program. We're hosting another appreciation dinner in Kansas in support of the walk-in hunter access program. We have multiple appreciation dinners that we're attending where we're going to be giving out a lot of very nice door prizes in Montana. And we need your help with this, man. Like, hunters should just be behind Hunters for Access. Even if you don't live in those states I mentioned. We have things going on in other states as well, and we're trying to get chapters up and running in other states to support other state-run programs. But even if you never hunt in a state that's been touched by Hunters for Access, there's still a strong case to be made that you should be supporting our organization because it's all connected, man. The higher quality the hunting is in state A, the less likely people are going to be to crowd and lease and buy up exclusive hunting property in state B. It's all connected. We're all in this together. When we improve hunt quality in one state, it has all kinds of positive spillover effects in other states. So, yeah, it's just the case that hunters throughout this country should support Hunters for Access. And there's really two ways you can do this. You can go to huntersforaccess.org and make a direct contribution there. And I really, really encourage you to do this. And another thing you could do if you wanted to support the Hunt Quietly message, in addition to supporting Hunters for Access, you can go to huntquietly.org and buy our merch. When you buy our merch, 100% of the proceeds go to supporting Hunters for Access. And Hunters for Access is not a traditional quote-unquote hunting conservation nonprofit where it's like they do something positive with 20 cents on the dollar and use the other 80 cents for R3 and advertising and salaries. 0% of the money you give to Hunters for Access goes to salaries, advertising, R3. 100% goes to showing appreciation to landowners in this country that provide public hunting access. If you're concerned about the future of hunting in this country, high quality, publicly accessible, non-pay hunting, then I can't think of a better way to direct your philanthropic expenditures than by supporting Hunters for Access. So please, man, help take the stress off of trying to keep this nonprofit going and get these events funded and make a contribution. I really appreciate it. Thanks. Yeah, I don't have any choice but to ad lib, because I have a full-time job,
For sure.
I'd love to do a podcast where you really could devote yourself to it, like do all kinds of research, and spend like 2 hours coming up with compelling questions for your guest. Just have it
For
be
sure.
professional,
Yeah, it's one of those things that even if you devote a little bit of time to it, you can go down the rabbit hole very quickly to decide what you want to talk about and what you don't want to talk about. And if you had, yeah, you'd have to have no full-time job to be able to go into everything that a person wants to actually pursue with all this stuff.
Yeah, yeah. One thing that I think has improved this podcast is the pause button. Like when we're going along and we encounter something that we aren't clear on, we'll just hit pause, and look it up.
Sure.
Um, yeah. Because another thing is I don't have time to edit them.
Right.
So I did the first several I edited, but now it's just hit record, hit stop, and let her rip. That's all there is to it. That's all I got time
Sometimes
for.
it's nice. Yeah, sometimes it's nice that way because then it's more real. It's everyday life for everyday people.
Yeah. It's 1 second here. For some reason, my phone's, see, there's a little bit more authenticity. My phone's going off. So I haven't looked into you very much other than, and I haven't looked into you at all. I just know that you liked you. I wouldn't say you like it. You've taken it upon yourself to call out sadists on the frickin' Instagram, which I really appreciate. So
my big thing that I've got into with all of this is, so I started off just being a hunter. I central Wisconsin boy. I grew up. The only thing that was more holy than church was deer hunting. That was how I was raised, and me, my dad, my uncles, my cousins. It was a rite of passage to become a deer hunter in Wisconsin, and that was all I really did with hunting. I became a duck hunter, waterfowler, and all the stuff that I do now later in life because it was something that, okay, I got to the point where after you've taken 40, 50, 60 deer, okay, there's more out there for me, and I want to pursue different animals to see what it's all about. It was never, for me, it was never social media. Um, for me, social media became a way for me to, I'm kind of an introvert. I'm learning how to not be an introvert. Um, Social media for me was
yeah,
a way to,
this is immersion therapy right here, right?
it is absolutely.
Talking to a
I took,
stranger on a computer, and then a whole bunch of other people are going to listen to what you say.
for sure. I mean, you just go all into it, and my thing was to meet like-minded people like myself, to be able to have hunting buddies. That's all it started out with.
When you say it, you mean your online presence.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. Yep. My online presence was never to be a celebrity, a sponsored person, anything like that. It was just to reach out and find different people that did the same thing that I do in different states, and
Okay.
kind of pick their brain and kind of see, I've never hunted out west. It's never been something I've ever done. So pick people's brain and figure out what that all is. Find people that duck hunt, find people that turkey hunt, and I'm not a person that wants to go spend absorbent amounts of money on this stuff because, well, I don't necessarily have the means to travel all over the United States and do all that stuff with a full-time job. So it was, I find friends, I can couch surf and maybe we can go and get on some birds, get on some deer or whatever that may be. But it was never for the popularity aspect of it. It was solely for just finding like-minded people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. What does it become?
Um, Slowly being an advocate for wildlife conservation and for my nieces and nephews to have land to be able to do so, to be able to hunt on. I
Okay.
never thought I would get into the advocacy group. Um, I just got back from our state capital today, meeting with legislators. It's something I never thought I would ever do. Um, but when I went there today, one of the things that stood out to me the most was the average age of the people there speaking up for hunting was 65 and up. All these these TikTokers, these 18 to 25-year-olds, doesn't matter to them. It matters to them in the pile pictures. It matters to them in the clicks, likes, shares, and views. It doesn't matter to them in talking with real life people that make laws that dictate how we hunt.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm a little bit sympathetic to that because that was me, like
Sure.
I didn't do anything to give back to hunting until I was in my mid 40s. Sure, maybe I
Yep.
paid dues to Rocky Mountain Elk or
Sure.
BHA or whatever, but I didn't do anything meaningful. Like I didn't do anything with my time to advocate. So, and
Right.
it's like, I almost think that young people should have a period where they get to hunt without worrying about the future of hunting, you know?
For sure. Yep.
Um,
Yep.
but but that's just like one way of looking at it. At the other way of looking at it is that we got serious problems. Uh
Mhm.
as I mean, there's serious issues facing the future of hunting in America, I believe. And
Me too. Yeah.
and it's going to take all of us, young and old, you know,
Yeah,
to
and that was kind of the the kinda concerning part was the crossroads that we're at with a lot of this stuff and not seeing any young faces there. I mean, I'm in the same boat you were. I'm 43. I didn't really get into any of this advocacy stuff till now. So it kinda made me do a deep dive look into, was I just utilizing the resource and that was it for my 20s and 30s, and now that I have a passion for waterfowl and it's very important to me, that's the only reason I'm doing this. I don't know. That's something that I've looked at myself and just kinda, you know, do I wanna do more of this? Absolutely. After meeting with them today and just kinda seeing how it all works, it's kind of alarming that so many sportsmen aren't willing to take 1 day off of work and try to get something passed and try to help something out to get it past the finish line so that there's more opportunity, not only for myself, but for my nieces and nephews, people down the street. I mean, if the crane thing passes in Wisconsin, not going to be a big deal. Oh, it'll be a big deal in this respect of getting it passed, but it won't be a big deal in how many numbers of hunters actually get to pursue them. But it's a step forward. It's another
Okay, so
opportunity for people.
let's back up just a little bit. Is
Yeah.
that why you were there today?
Yeah. Yes.
Uh, at the Capitol, you were discussing some proposed bill that would change sandhill crane hunting regulation
Correct.
in in
Correct.
in
We cannot hunt them
Wisconsin.
here in Wisconsin. Yeah, we can't hunt them here now in Wisconsin. It's gotten to the point it's been bounced back and forth very, for almost 15 to 16 years now that they've been trying to pass it in Wisconsin, and it's finally to the point now where, they've got enough voices going forward to get it to the point where it passed the committee vote, and now it's on to the Senate to be able to possibly pass it, to be able to get it across the finish line, to have a structured science-backed season to be able to do it here.
Who's opposing it?
International Crane Foundation mainly.
Oh,
Um,
oh,
they are
I've never heard the likes of such. There's like a crane focused conservation group.
Yes, so they are big advocates for the main thing that they are trying to not allow hunters to accidentally harvest are whooping cranes. Um,
Ah,
so in this area we have, well, Wisconsin is an area where a lot of these whooping cranes come through, and I do a lot of photography, so I go to Horicon Marsh a lot, and there's 364 of them in North America, and so they want to have it be science based to where people aren't harvesting whooping cranes on accident. And if you've ever seen a whooping crane in person, they're about 2.5 feet taller than a sandhill, and they're pure white.
oh
But
no, I really.
yeah, they're a little bit big. Yeah.
Uh, how much? It's like a sandhill crane. Was it? What do they weigh? Like 15 pounds?
Yeah, 12 to 14 pounds, yeah, on
What does
average.
one of these weigh?
They're upwards. I want to say it's like 18 pounds, 19 pounds, something in that.
Okay,
But
they're lanky.
as far as the sheer size of them, they got an 8.5 to 9 foot wingspan versus a sandhill's like 6 to 7.
Hmm.
And yeah, one's gray, one's pure white with a red head. They sound totally different. Um, we have issues with people in Wisconsin shooting swans during season thinking they're snow geese. So I kind of see a little bit of where they're
Yeah,
going with it.
there's been
Um,
people in Montana that have shot llamas thinking they're elk.
yeah,
You
correct.
know,
Yeah. So
boy.
we are
I mean,
as
come
sport.
on. I mean, that's not a justification for not having the season.
Correct.
Um.
Correct.
Well, I mean, it's something to think about,
For sure.
right? It's
Yeah.
worth factoring in. You
Yeah.
know. Um.
The one the one part of the legislation that they would be putting into the season would be that if you are a permit person that applies for it and you get a permit, you would have to actually take an educational course to tell the difference between the two. Which,
Okay.
from my from my standpoint, I don't know why that is not a requirement for people that duck hunt, because 80% of duck hunters don't know a redhead from a bluebill, from a gadwall to a widgeon. So, in that respect, I like the educational piece of it being implemented into the permit. So,
Yeah, I'm in the 80%. I shoot first and ask questions later. I'm so bad at duck ID, man. It's terrible. Terrible. But there's not a lot of different species here. Like,
right,
especially early in the year, they're early in the season, there's a lot, but I'm not
yeah,
hunting ducks early in the season. By the time I'm hunting them,
correct,
it's maybe widgeons and mallards are the only thing left,
yeah, sure,
Um, yeah, that seems reasonable, that they would
so,
have to do a little ID, especially a little ID test, especially when there's only 300 and some left.
yeah,
Did you say
in North
300
America,
in North America? Okay, how many in the old
correct.
world?
In Asia and that kind of thing, over in Europe, there's like populations in the thousands,
Okay.
but yes, as far as like the North American population of them, almost every single one that we have here is banded, has GPS trackers on it and everything else. I think
Well,
of
you
the
just
three.
look for that.
Yeah, correct. Yeah. Because in this area, like the Baraboo ones that they have, the leg bands, they have
Whoa,
three
whoa,
leg
whoa, what's
bands on
up?
each
What,
leg.
what, what, you just introduced a vocabulary word on me.
Baraboo,
A
Wisconsin.
baraboo whooping crane.
No, no, yeah, Baraboo, Wisconsin. It's a city in Wisconsin.
Oh, okay, 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 okay,
So
gotcha.
in that area, they have specific ones that, depending on where they're from and where they reside when they're in their breeding season, um, the Baraboo ones will have a red, white, and green band on one leg, and then they have the GPS and federal band on the other leg. So from
Mhm.
when they fly in, you can see basically a Christmas tree of colors on their leg, and the big GPS tracker, and the fact that they're white and 2 feet longer than the other birds. So I
Yeah,
guess if
the
you
Crane Foundation doesn't really have a leg to stand on here, it doesn't seem to me.
yeah.
So where do these whooping cranes nest?
So they have nesting areas. They use Wisconsin as a nesting grounds, kind of in Horicon Marsh and Baraboo is some of the areas that they go. Um, they basically migrate all the way down to I want to say Louisiana, but then they go all the way up into Canada as well. But the main corridor for nesting and breeding grounds would be in Wisconsin, Minnesota. So that's the main focus of why there's a lot of pushback from them.
So
And
it's the
basically,
epicenter for whooping crane is right there.
yeah, correct.
Okay.
Yeah, so you get a lot of them here. The most I've ever seen at one time is seven, and that's just kind of unheard of because, well, if there's only 365 of them, you see seven or eight at one time. That's quite a decent chunk of the population.
Yeah.
Right there.
Yeah. Uh, why are they so beleaguered, or are they just naturally rare?
It's one of those success stories that they were almost extinct, if not extinct, in North America, and then they were basically brought back in, similar to like wild turkeys and stuff like that, to where it's a success story that they're bringing them back and getting them to the point where they have, getting them to the point where there's 365 of them here, 64 of them here, um, is a success story in itself. There's a big lure to them with birders, photographers, and that kind of stuff. So the birding people that are non-hunters, they basically put them up on a pedestal as just like the most amazing thing they've ever seen in their entire lives. So when you get that aspect of it, they they see the sandhill crane almost in the same sense to where they just don't want to see those taken out as well because they just don't understand the
Yeah,
science
yeah,
behind the hunting
yeah. I
part.
get all that. I'm just curious
Yeah.
when and why did they become rare or locally extinct?
That I'm not 100% certain on.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not well rehearsed in my ginormous birds that can't hunt
Okay.
in that
Okay.
respect.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah. I'm curious, like, did there used to be tens of thousands of them in the
I don't believe
US,
so.
or
I think
they've
they just
always
added
been a
I think
little rare,
yeah,
a
I
little
think
bit
they've
of a
added
small
them in here from other flocks from Europe and Asia and just
Mhm.
kind of wanted to make them a success story in that respect.
Yeah. Yeah. It just doesn't matter as much if something goes extinct if it was extinct already.
Correct. Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like,
Yeah,
well, they
I
already
hear you.
went extinct. If they go extinct again, we'll go get some more.
Yeah, there's
You
a whole plethora of them over there. Yeah.
know? Um, so how are ducks doing in general? Is that something you follow?
Yeah, I kind of had some topics that I touched on my podcast in reference to um, nonprofit groups telling us duck numbers are up, duck numbers are up, duck numbers are up, and then these last couple of seasons, that's not what a lot of hunters are seeing in the marsh. My year this year was the lowest year of ducks that I've physically seen in the marsh by myself.
Now, why would
And
people why is it that it's like Ducks Unlimited or Delta Waterfowl or whatever, they're quantifying duck numbers as opposed to, say, Fish and Wildlife Service?
well, I think a big part of it is the funding and stuff that they're raising to get people to be able to believe one thing, but maybe there might be a sleight of hand the opposite way. I'm a big advocate for Delta Waterfall. It's the only nonprofit that I really am passionate about because I see what we do locally here to give back to the community. I don't see that in other nonprofits for say like Ducks Unlimited because you raise all your money, it goes in a kitty, and the kitty gets pushed off to wherever that may go and whatever it may buy. But I do a lot with the University Hunt program in Wisconsin here. We're the only chapter in our state that does anything with the University Hunt program.
What's the
So I
University Hunt program?
Yep. So University Hunt program so in Stevens Point, Wisconsin, we have University of Stevens Point, which is the largest natural resource program for 4-year degrees in basically the nation,
One of
next
my
to
best
Madison.
friends here in Miles City, Montana, he just retired from the from the Bureau of Land Management. His son got his undergraduate and master's degrees there at Stevens Point
Okay,
in
sure.
fisheries. Yeah.
So what we've been noticing is a lot of the students that are going for these degree programs have no semblance of what the heck they're talking about in fisheries, in biology, and they don't hunt. They don't do any of the things that we do as hunters and sportsmen. So the students that we target with that program are ones that are very liberal, never touched a gun before, have families that don't have gun backgrounds at all, and we teach them duck hunting from the standpoint of learning how to even physically hold a firearm and understand how to shoot one. And then we build that up from there and bring in a warden, go over different topics with that warden on gun safety, bird identification, and then we take them out to a trap range and teach them how to shoot trap.
These are kids
And then
that
if
are
we
getting a degree in wildlife biology that you're doing this
and
with.
have no clue on what a hunter is.
Yeah,
Yep.
man, I've heard that. That's
Yep.
something I hear talked about a bit, is that the current generation
Yep.
of wildlife biologists don't have the strong connection to hunting that they used to have.
Yep. So we're trying to instill and bring that back so that they understand me as a hunter, you as a hunter, how we go about our business and how we take care of, going out every day and what we do with the animals that we hunt. So that when they get into the biology piece of it, they have a more of an understanding for, okay, I can affect this from the biology piece. The conservation piece I have to look at too, because if I'm taking it from the lens of a hunter, I want to put that into my tool bag and be able to figure out how both things can coexist. And then we take them out on a hunt after we show them how to shoot trap and take them out duck and goose hunting. And once we get back from harvesting ducks and geese, then we show them how to process it, how to cook it, how to go through that whole process as well. So that's been something that Delta has given me back as far as something that I've been able to be a teacher and an advocate for to help brand new people that have never hunted before. I I struggle with the R3 program. I
Yeah.
do.
You
I
probably
don't think
picked up
we
on the fact that I hate, like, I
I'm well aware.
loathe R3, but
My thing with R3 is we don't need more hunters. The ones we need are the ones to replace the ones that are, basically opting out of or aging out of hunting, but the ones we're bringing in, if we're not doing it properly and teaching them how to be ethical hunters, then why the hell are we doing it in the first place?
yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm all about educating the next crop of hunters on the relevant issues for sure.
Yeah.
But I mean, I'm not gonna push back on you about this. It's like, but like this seems like you're creating hunters. I mean, it's like
Correct. Yep.
my hatred of R3 is like a minority viewpoint. I don't get mad at people because they do a little R3. I just
Yeah.
think it's the wrong direction. Um, like there's so much I could say, and I've said so many times about. I just think of R3 as it's the ultimate betrayal of the existing hunting community. It, it's just I just one thing that encapsulates it well for me is that if you look at the survey data on hunter satisfaction and what drives hunter satisfaction and how
Mhm.
deleterious crowding is to hunter satisfaction,
Yep.
it's quite evident that if you're into recruitment, then
Right.
you're
Uh-huh.
anti retention, you
Yep.
know.
No,
Now,
I agree. Yeah,
uh,
I agree with you.
but now I have a carve out for you with this
Okay.
because I have a carve out for you because this seems laudable. It is important that this crop of wildlife biologists that's coming up, and they're going to be embedded in some state fish and wildlife management agency somewhere in the U.S. They've got to have an understanding of hunting.
Yep.
So, yeah.
Yeah, we've gotten to the point where in Wisconsin with the people that are going through UWSP, and the jobs just aren't here for people to stay in the state. So if you get a good person that understands not only the biology, the science, the ecology, everything that goes into what their degree program was, and now they understand hunting and they get into the bird banding and the prescribed burning and all that, they just go elsewhere. They go to another state because there's nothing that our state right now is giving these kids to hold them here, even the good ones, to be able to retain them. So, from the retention standpoint, it's like, okay, if you can build somebody up to be a good biologist, but understand my side of it as a hunter, and then we're taking them and implanting them into the Wisconsin Department of Natural Resources. Okay, now I have an advocate for me to go out and help improve my public lands, improve the areas that I go, not necessarily to get in my way and be another hunter like, "Oh, great, now there's more people out here. I gotta compete with this guy or that guy." It's more of they understand it fully to where they can help me out along the way and we help them out build their career.
Yeah, that's reasonable.
Yeah.
So back to the question I asked a bit ago. If you wouldn't mind, I'd like to linger on duck numbers and what you think is going on there and who's saying what. Would you help me understand that?
I think a lot of the duck numbers, I think the I'm not a global warmist. However, I understand that the temperatures and different things across the United States are changing a little bit to where our frost lines just don't go down as far as they typically would on a normal winter around here.
Yeah,
I was just in
whenever this topic comes up, I mean, you could just I think that a good way to do it that just circumnavigates all the controversy is just to focus on the fact that it's been warmer.
for sure, for
Don't
sure.
attribute it to a cause, but just, you know. So okay, I'm sorry to interrupt, but
No,
so
and with that, I mean, there's so many different avenues that people go. So, like, they're like, "Oh my god, the ducks just don't migrate any further south because, the rich people flood a cornfield," and
I've been
that affects
hearing that lately.
Yep.
That's yeah, okay.
That's a big popular one. Um, if you give a duck food, you give a duck water, and it doesn't freeze, why do they have a reason to leave? So, a lot of the Kansas hunters and in that area, not necessarily Louisiana, Arkansas people, that they've been reporting numbers so low that they've never seen duck numbers that low in 20, 30 years of going down duck hunting in Louisiana, Arkansas. I had people reach out to me and they're
that's
like,
this year, the recent
"Yep,
years, what? Just
yep."
okay.
I would say the last 3 to 5 years.
Okay.
Specifically in the last 3, there's people down there. Arkansas has become one of those, well, social media meccas, right? So everybody goes down there on top of all of the local residents that hunt down there, and you have boats on top of boats on top of boats, ripping through trees and all that kinda stuff. So you have overpopulation of hunters in one area, and then the ducks that are there are getting blasted at treetop high, and they just don't wanna be there. So, I think in a couple generations of ducks, understanding that everything's warming up, they have no reason to go that far generationally once they get past, a couple generations of like, "Oh, I can get to Kansas, and I don't have to travel any farther because this stays green pretty much all winter, and then I can just travel back up north and follow the frost line back up, and I'm good to go."
Yeah.
Um,
Okay, so what are
that
the people in Kansas saying?
Kansas people, the last 3 to 5 years, they've had phenomenal years.
So,
Um,
okay, so the people in the deep south are saying there's no ducks,
yep.
but then the people that are further north are saying there's more than ever?
They basically like everything's short checking and stopping in Kansas and that
Ye
kind of stuff to
yeah, yeah.
where I think by me in central Wisconsin here, I think a lot of birds, there's certain ducks that will migrate at night, but I think a lot of ducks are night migrators now to where they're showing on Cornell University does a thermal imaging map where they show um, not only migratory birds in general, but like songbirds and stuff, and how many migrate overnight with the full moons and that. And some of the nights it's 27 million plus birds are migrating over a 24-hour period through central Wisconsin. And it's always overnight. And typically, 5, 10 years ago, I would see when I'd see those maps, I knew that the next day was going to be amazing hunting in my neck of the woods, but that just never happened anymore. They're just bypassing everything altogether, and they're just going to areas where there's more food and water more prevalent for them. Um, the marshes and stuff that I hunt around here in the last 10 years of them not putting work into public land, there's no smartweed, there's no wild rice, there's no native vegetation that those ducks want to eat for forage besides duckweed and cattails, which cattails aren't very edible for them, but there's nothing in these areas to hold ducks and keep them here.
So they used to do some kind of management that would
Yep. In Wisconsin DNR, the Mead Wildlife Area is in my neck of the woods. So that one's roughly 33,000 acres. And of that 33,000 acres, I want to say about roughly 40% of it is wetlands, maybe about 40%. And they used to put wild rice out there. They used to manage it for smartweed and different native vegetations that were there.
well,
They would drain it.
Pennsylvania smartweed isn't native, is it?
It's a good point. I don't know.
Okay, I don't think it is.
But
But
I mean,
anyway,
duck food that they would utilize and eat, they would drain it in the springtime after right after nesting so that stuff would emerge and be an actual vegetation that ducks would eat, along with planting smartweed, doing prescribed burns and that kind of thing to kind of kill down some of the cattail bogs.
okay.
And
So why did they
once
do
that
away
changed,
with all that?
the gentleman that used to be the manager of the mead, they he retired, and then, well, new guy, budget cuts and everything else, and the whole thing with the mead just slowly kind of got to the point where it is now. They used
Mhm.
to have a 7-mile bike loop that you could do. They don't manage the trails properly because they shut the bike loop down altogether because of snapping turtle holes in the dikes and everything else that they don't maintain. Constant dike systems washing out, water levels not maintained, whether it's for duck hunting purposes or just water purposes in general for a wetland area. They utilize UWSP for a lot of, um, lack of a better term, slave labor for the students to go out there and do everything that they can get out of them so that they can put that on their resume that they helped it at the Mead Wildlife Area. And yeah, it's just very mismanaged in my opinion.
Uh, I, I hasten to say that uh, Pennsylvania smartweed is native to the
Oh,
United States,
there we go.
and as a plant ecologist, I can't be spreading misinformation like that. So there you go. I just think of plants that are problematic in
Sure.
crops as being
Yep.
they're almost all non-native, but
For sure.
that
Yep.
one's native. So, why in the hell? Do you ever think to yourself? Here's a kind of a philosophical question.
Yeah.
Have you ever thought to yourself, I wonder why blah blah blah, and
All the
then
time.
you realize that it would be very difficult for anyone to know the answer to that question.
Yeah, I ask myself a lot of those questions in reference to, well, a lot of life things, but
Like there's been
uh
times where I've thought I almost asked you a question that I'm almost like it might provoke a whole bunch of skepticism on your part, but you're not going to know the answer, nor is
sure.
anyone else, because there's no conceivable set of observations that one could make to substantiate why it is. And the question was, why do they migrate at night? There's just no way that you'd have to ask them. and they can't
Yeah, for
communicate.
ducks.
Yeah.
Well, think about it like this: if you're migrating at night and you have a full moon, and you can see everything around you, it's like having a nice little spotlight where you can see everything around you, and you have a nice northwest wind, and nobody's shooting at you. Why not?
I just think of birds as like migrating up in the stratosphere where nobody's going to be shooting at them anyway, don't they?
True.
Um, it's just hard to say, but
Yeah.
man, does waterfowl likes to fly around at night? God, it's crazy.
Mhm.
Like,
Yep.
I don't know, warm. Well, sometimes I'll crack. I shouldn't be doing this, but because it's just not it's just not good for the environment. It's not good for my bill. But sometimes I crack my window at night in the
Nothing wrong with that.
in the winter, even though the heater's running, you know? And you'll hear those freaking geese out there all night. It could be 15
Uh-huh.
below zero and they're flying
Yep.
around. I don't understand that. They must just,
I think.
they just don't
I
see
think.
it. To me, it's a stark difference between
For
day
sure.
and night. But to them,
Yeah.
it's like, I don't know. I'm out here all the time.
Right.
And
Yeah.
like
If you
once
get
he's
used to
off
it and
the
acclimated.
ground, he's not going to run
Yeah.
into anything, you know?
Right. Yeah.
Doesn't have to worry about that. Us stumbling around in the dark, we might bang our head or, you know, but they don't have to worry about that. So maybe that's it.
Yeah. That could be. I've never flown in the stratosphere at night though, so I wouldn't know.
It is more clear, whereas with the duck numbers, there's it's kind of unclear whether they're overall trending up or down.
Yeah. I
But
think.
with duck hunters, isn't it more clear that there's fewer duck hunters?
Yeah, every single person that I've talked with from Maine to California to Utah to Texas to Arkansas, Louisiana, they're all saying the same thing I'm seeing. It's just not typically how it works in Wisconsin here. We get blueing and green-winged teal and wood ducks
Oh, you're
early.
not talking about
And
duck hunters. You're talking about ducks still.
oh, I'm talking, yeah, I'm still on the ducks. I got ducks on the
Okay, so
brain.
anecdotally,
Yeah,
you believe that duck numbers are down.
100%. Yeah.
Down from a
Yeah.
decade ago?
I believe down from 5 to 7 years ago. Yes, substantially. And
Okay.
I think a part of that is bird flu. I really do. I've seen it in different areas that how hard it hits. It hits geese more than it hits the ducks, but there's just I think there's a bigger component to that than we even realize because when you're having snow geese pile in a field or on a body of water, and when they leave in the morning there's 2,500 dead snow geese out in North Dakota on one pond. um if it's hitting that hard in those major areas where duck, like basically duck meccas, and then I go to my local park here in Marshfield, Wisconsin, little old Marshfield, Wisconsin. They just have 2 ponds and a couple bears and some random crap, and, you can go to each pond per week, and they're picking up anywhere from 10 to 15 geese off each pond that are either dead or dying. I think those numbers are hitting duck populations too that we're just not hearing about.
Yeah,
Um,
I could buy that. I could believe that. Like
and
where
yeah,
here there's the last few years there's been a lot of sick geese.
for sure.
And then I've also seen sick ducks.
Yep,
I rolled up
yeah,
on a couple in my boat and whacked them with a paddle and picked them up.
yep.
And they had
I don't know
burned.
if, like,
Have you seen this? They had burned through all their breast muscle. Like their breasts were
oh,
convex.
yeah, just from their basically their brain just eating their body and getting to the point where they just yeah, they don't have any ability to control any body motion.
Yeah. Yep. So okay, yeah. So you think that duck numbers are down, and you think that bird flu is a contributing factor? I can totally buy that.
I think it's a bigger factor than most people are leading us to believe. Not like a conspiracy theorist or anything like that, but when I see it in my small town and then I see it out in North Dakota and I hear it from other people that they're seeing very similar stuff, and then when the migration is hitting, we're not seeing native populations of ducks that we traditionally see in these marshes and these areas for the entire season, like gadwalls, canvasbacks, and ringnecks. Those are three that traditionally, as it gets colder in Wisconsin, we see those once the first cold snap hits, we'll see ringnecks, we'll see canvasbacks, redheads, and all the divers come down. And that just never happened for the last few years. It's just been
Mm,
very, very different than what we're used to seeing.
I see. Uh, okay, so yeah, the answer to the question, is this just a blip or is it a indicative of a longer term, what's going to turn out to be a longer term
Yeah,
decline?
yeah, I think it's
I'm
going to end up being something that we see for the next 2 to 5 years, honestly, because if you're getting this downturn in population, just like anything with populations of stuff where they have to rebound back, it's going to take them a hot minute to be able to get to back to where the numbers were 5 to 7 years ago, in my opinion.
assuming we're not at a new normal, like with
Correct.
bird flu, right?
Correct.
Could be the new
Yeah.
normal, right?
Yeah.
Um, uh, I'm sorry, I'm just there. I want to make a quick note here to ask you about something in a minute that just dawned on me.
Sure.
Um, okay, so in your view, duck numbers aren't great. But you said something a little while ago that I heard somebody else say recently, where you said the nonprofits want us to believe or putting out their numbers and are saying that the numbers
Yep.
are good. Uh, do you think that they believe that, or do you think that they are cooking the books a little bit for some reason?
I'm gonna tread lightly on that one, but I do believe the
Why?
books.
Do you okay?
No,
Do
no,
you
no, no.
let me ask a couple other questions.
Yeah,
Because I get do you have are are you sponsored by anybody?
I'm not sponsored by anybody, and I
Okay.
keep it that way for one reason. I I
Okay, so
I only I
why are you worried about saying what you really think then?
no, I'm going to say what I really think.
Okay.
My main thing is because I do have an affiliation with Delta. That doesn't mean that I'm not going to speak my mind, and my regional director knows that.
Okay.
Um,
Yeah, cuz you're just so you know, and I'm going to let you go talk because
yep.
I'm interrupting you and being kind of an asshole by like like jumping on jump like uh by interrupting you. I
But
just
my my
there's a people are really apprehensive about what they say and what they really think when it comes to these nonprofits,
No, and that's something I've prided myself a lot with this whole calling out people on the internet and that kind of stuff because,
which we're
like,
going to get
yes, I'm
to.
a
That's
part.
got to be a component of our discussion. But
Yes. So,
okay,
yes, I'm a part of Delta, but I also understand and I'm not an idiot when it comes to logic and reasoning. So it's like, okay, this nonprofit says duck numbers are here, and then this nonprofit is magically the same numbers, even though they have different biologists and everything else. The numbers are all plus or minus a percent off from how amazing we have it for duck hunting.
okay.
If I
So
tell
let me ask a question before we. 'Cause I just want to understand that part a little bit. You're talking
Yep,
about Delta and DU.
yep.
Okay, are maybe they're making their assessment based on the same underlying observations? Is that not the case?
Uh, in some retrospects, but not always.
Okay.
I don't think. I mean, maybe they share data, maybe they don't. But
Okay.
if you're a separate entity and you're a separate 501c and you're doing separate things for separate causes for separate money, why would you be sharing data back and forth to the point of where if you're going to put out how amazing everything is for the hunter, if both things are the same, why don't you just combine the organization and be one facet? That's
Oh yeah. So to help me understand, man, there's so many hanging chads now. God, I'm gonna lose track. But okay, all right, we're gonna go back to this idea of like, is there an incentive for Ducks and Delta to present an inaccurate picture, to 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 paint an overly rosy picture of duck numbers?
well,
But
let me ask you this. If I was running an organization and if I told you everything's shit, everything's shit, everything's shit, would you give me $100?
mm,
So if I get to the point where I tell you everything's hunky dory, give me some money. Look at what we're doing for you. You're more obliged to give me that $100 bill. If
mm-hmm.
I'm not going to tell you that everything's hunky dory, and I tell you that bird flu sucks, everything's getting killed off, numbers are down, we're losing populations of, we're putting more hunters on the landscape, you're losing public access. How much money you want to give me?
Mm.
That's my opinion on it.
Oh man, that is convincing to me. Um, oh, see, that's a really good explanation for that stuff.
That's why we can be friends.
Yeah. I mean, another one is that how are they going to justify that the fact I don't know about Delta, but Ducks, how are they going to justify the fact that they do so much R3? Like they're
Mhm.
drawing people towards a resource in decline. That doesn't make any
Well, and
sense.
so that
I mean,
one of the reasons I went to
Turkey, the North National Wild Turkey Federation has been doing that for decades, but
Yep,
so
yep.
you can still do it. But
But one of the reasons I was at the Capitol today was the Knowles Nelson Stewardship Fund was basically something Wisconsin used since 1989 to be able to help fund, acquire new land, and also to maintain the lands that we have. Well, that's on the books this year to potentially expire, and then it won't go forward. And that's 30, I think every year that's 35 to 40 million dollars that gets put toward public
mhm.
land access and buying different properties and that kind of
This
thing.
is part of
My
this is part of Ducks Unlimited.
This is part of Wisconsin.
Oh, it has nothing to
So
do with Ducks Unlimited.
no,
Okay,
this is
okay.
basically Ducks Unlimited can tap into it. There's grant funding that you can get from it to be able to say you have a public land area and there's a piece of private property that you have that you want to acquire. You can use that money to acquire it to put in a public um, kayak launch, something to that effect, so that you can add to that piece of public land to be able to have a kayak launch at that site to be able to go into the wetlands. When you use Knowles Nelson money in the state of Wisconsin, it has to be on public land that is open to hunting and fishing.
I see. That's cool. That's
So
really cool.
basically, right
That's too
now,
bad
that's
that's
on.
going away.
Well, they're trying to if they pass it to be able to prolong it, then they can work on the stipulations of it to be able to, kind of allocate the money more properly. There's the thing that they're struggling with right now to prolong it is the oversight of it. There's been chunks of people that are just using this money to be able to acquire land that's not really attached to benefit hunters and sportsmen in a manner. So they're trying to get more oversight on it to where when it is spent, it's spent for the right purpose to either expand a public land area or, in my opinion, it shouldn't be for expanding any more public land areas. It should be used for maintaining the shit that's broken here. But that's neither here nor there.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, you're saying that pot of money is going to go away potentially?
Yes, it's on the docket to basically if it doesn't, it's basically its time frame is elapsed, and if they don't approve it going forward, it's done. That
I
money just
see.
evaporates, and it's not something that is able to be, accessed in the state of Wisconsin anymore to either acquire land or use for maintenance on public lands in Wisconsin.
I see. Okay. Yeah, well, I hope that doesn't come to pass, obviously. Um, so what I'm trying there was something I wanted to ask you about with that same topic. Um, um, so Ducks Unlimited, we're thinking about my little group was thinking about doing a deep dive on them this winter and looking into their financial statements and stuff like that. I know
Sure.
there's a lot of stuff that they do that's going to piss me off. I'm sure that I've looked into it enough to already know that. Um, did you ever listen to our episode about National Wild Turkey Federation?
A little bit, briefly, yes.
Okay. Oh, it didn't captivate you enough to finish it. No,
I
it's
was listening
fine.
it on the way to I was listening to it on the way to work
Fine.
one day.
Oh, I mean, there's just some pretty eye popping um corruption or incompetence going on with those guys, I'd say. You
Right.
know, they corrected some of the issues based on our research and
There you go.
admitted to it. Yeah, but it's like, why am I having to correct the reporting of a $60 million a year conservation nonprofit?
Because no other hunters stand up for what we believe is right.
Um, and isn't it like a little? It's just a little bit telling that with them and with other nonprofits, every time there's like a discrepancy between what they say and their
Yep.
financial statements, what they say makes them look better
For sure.
than the financial statements. So
Good PR.
it well, I'm just and it just it starts to seem infeasible that it's just a mistake. If it
For
was a
sure.
mistake, if there were mistakes, some things, some misreporting would make them look worse than they truly are, you know?
For sure.
But it's
Yeah.
always better. One thing that
Well,
in my real brief dive into ducks, one thing I noticed is they spend about $10 million a year on PSAs, public service announcements.
yep.
Have you looked at any of those?
A little bit, yeah.
So I looked at one. Okay, so some of them, it's pretty hard to argue that is anything more than an advertisement for Ducks Unlimited. There's
For
no
sure. Yep.
okay, here I'm not doing a good job with this. Let me start over. So PSAs in their financial statements get recorded under education and conservation. Now there's
Yep.
another column for fundraising
For sure.
in there that has entries in it, but the PSAs, $10 million a year, get routinely, consistently recorded in the education and conservation column. And with
Yep.
some of them, there is absolutely zero
Mhm.
educational value. It is nothing more than
The one thing that I've noticed with having my personal stuff and then being part of an organization and seeing it from their lens and their perspective is they're not calling out when we're unethical. They're not calling out when we're playing with cripples. They're not having that social media presence to be like, "Hey guys, this is not us." That would be educational in my opinion.
oh yeah.
To be able to be like, "Hey, 16-year-olds that's bringing 20 dead geese into a Bucky's and laying them next to the roller dogs and thinking that it's an amazing photo for the internet. That stuff should be called out by these organizations and be like, this is not a sportsman, this is not a hunter. But when it comes to that kind of stuff, they're tight-lipped. None of that stuff hits any of their public service announcements or their anything like that.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. I mean, just like to be clear, what these public service announcements I'm talking about is just like Ducks Unlimited is doing great
For sure.
we're doing wetland conservation. And that is like, there's, I mean, if you want to call, eh, there's just no educational content at all.
Yeah.
And yet it goes in that bucket
They're
of,
stating the obvious. We do wetland stuff. Yeah,
yeah,
that's what
it's
you
an
are.
ad.
And that
It should be in the
yeah.
advertising column, you know?
Right.
Yeah. No,
Yep.
but there's a blank, what you just pointed out, your observation, that it is true of the of like policing bad behavior.
Mhm.
You don't see it with hunting celebrities. You don't see it with
Nope.
the orgs. You do not see it with the industry.
Yeah.
And
The outfitters,
it's
the guides, any of
calculated.
it.
It's
Yeah.
calculated. They're like, well, 25% of the posts or the comments on that post, as disgusting as it was,
Yep.
were favorable. And we don't
Yep.
want to risk those people not coming to our banquet because we came out against them playing around with a wounded duck.
For
Right?
sure.
I think that's it. Right?
Yep.
There's
Yeah.
other things where these guys are just complete cowards. How the fact
But
how the fact that we got these lease land outfitting companies like Land Trust and Infinite
yep.
Outdoors and HRBO, displacing places, taking places out of state-run programs that allow everybody to hunt, and they're
Mhm.
just mute on that, you know. And it's because some of the people that hunt on those lands that pay those lease fees and cause properties to leave state-run programs that allow everybody to hunt. Well, they wear products, and those products are those companies are sponsors of the nonprofit
Mhm.
or what have you. It's so intricately connected
It
that
is.
it's on
And the
you.
more you
It's on people like you and me
Yep.
that don't have a financial stake to say something. You know?
And the more I dive into all this stuff with the crippled birds and just trying to be an ethical person and I have plenty of young kids reach out to me and they're like, "Hey man, like my friend groups do this stuff. Like how do I approach this?" That's my advocacy part of it is if
Wow. Wow,
yeah,
that's really cool. You have
yeah,
young hunters come at you and say, "Hey man, some of the stuff that you're railing about." Let's just be
yep,
let's just try to be one step more clear for people that aren't on social media.
sure.
Basically, ladies and gentlemen, if you're not on social media, God bless you. I wish I wasn't either. And as soon as I'm done trying to, like, with this Hunters for Access and Hunt Quietly thing, I'll never look at it again. I derive no pleasure from it. But you can what we're talking about now, and I should have clarified this earlier on, is that anything you can imagine in terms of a disrespectful, sadist, like nasty treatment by a hunter of wildlife, you can
Yep.
find on a weekly basis being posted.
Oh, I get 10 to 25 of them sent to me a day. and I pick out the ones that I feel like I'm not gonna get sued over the most. And then, I go forward with some of those, and then I tiptoe on some of the ones that, I get cease and assist letters on as well because, a lot of these people
I
that
hammer on these people. I've never gotten a letter.
that
That's interesting.
yep, I wanna frame one, but, there's my perspective on it is I'm a hunter, my wife is not. 100%. She cannot she's gone hunting with me, she's tried to pull the trigger, just can't doesn't have it in her heart to do it. It's fine. She goes out filming with me, like filming wildlife and doing photography and that aspect of it, eats everything that I bring home. So that when I see this stuff, I see it from a hunter's perspective, and I see it from my wife's perspective. And when I
Let's
see
give the ladies and gentlemen just a couple examples. Like you
sure.
and I both you sent me one a while back and I saw it today.
Yep.
It's a fella that has wounded a sandhill crane, right?
Yep.
And he's walking
Yep.
around with it,
Yep.
holding it by the feet, and it's flopping and trying to get away. And then he sets it down, and it's like he's
So
holding his hand
that
out,
that
trying to
part
get.
yeah, that part of that video, so the one in his hand is wounded. So he's got it by the legs, and he's got his phone out conveniently instead of dispatching the animal so that he could film it for being awesome on the internet. And,
How is that
he put
awesome?
it's
How is
it's
that
not.
awesome?
That was my sarcasm, I'm sorry.
No, I know it is. I know it is.
But, he's taken his phone out so that he can make a video. Mind you, this guy is a guide. He's an outfitter. He this is his business. So he's taking the thing that pays his bills, that he's taking the life of, and, he's making a mockery of it for the internet because he thinks that that's gonna bring him more clients, make him cool, rage bait, clickbait, whatever the case may be with that. The second part of that video is him just going up to a crane in a different time of year when they weren't actually in hunting season,
Oh,
going up, going up to a crane, which
I
was
thought it was the
probably
same crane in both cases.
no,
Okay.
probably protecting a nest, and she's got her wings out in that displayed posture to get away from me, and he's going up to it and slapping it in the chest and harassing the hell out of it because he thinks it's comical for the internet as well.
Folks,
That's just
if you're hey, I don't know why you'd be listening to this podcast if you don't hunt, but let me assure you that there are, I would say most hunters do not relish causing unnecessary fear and pain to
correct.
wildlife.
Yep.
I'd say that that Justin and myself are two of those people. Like, right?
Yeah, it's been one of those
N-
things where when I see it, I'm physically disgusted myself as a hunter, and because I have true passion for these animals. I have ducks in my backyard that I raise. They are not for meat, they're my pets. I enjoy them. They're part of my family. That's that aspect of
mm.
it. I photograph them in the springtime. I hunt them in the fall. I do everything I can to make sure that these animals are sustained to where I take what I take and I don't take more than I need. And to see people doing this and profiting off a natural resource, being an outfitter, being a guide, and taking other people out there. The one I saw the other day was in California because of the new mute swan legislation that mute swans are an invasive species. So therefore, there's no season on them. You can shoot them anytime you want to go out, have fun. Well, this guy's going 45 miles an hour in a guide boat, and he's got one gentleman on the front of the boat and he's got two guys on the side, and they're shooting at these swans while they're going 45 miles an hour. And the guy in the back of the boat almost takes his friend's head off because he's 5 feet behind him, shooting basically a foot from his head. So I reached out to the guide and I said, like, this, you guys, yeah, what's your problem with it? Well, I got a lot of problems with it, but why would you do something like this? And he decided to tell me that it was perfectly legal in California. I assured him that 99% of things aren't legal in California. So I highly doubt this is. But going 45 miles an hour under power in a boat in a vessel with guided people that is in an unsafe manner shooting at a bird. I I can see about 7 violations in that video, but they don't even own up to it. They just figure out ways they can kinda circumnavigate it and kinda blow you off and make it all about you and deflect it rather than owning up to what they're doing in this stuff.
Well, there's two things going on here. It's doing something like that, and then it's
Yep.
showing the world you
Yep.
doing something like that.
Correct.
I mean, for some people, there's not a sharp distinction there because they can't imagine
Yeah.
going hunting without filming it. But to
Yeah,
me,
and I had
like those are
Yep.
two very different things, and these people
100%.
combine them. You know,
Yep. Yep. I mean, do I
I
know
think a
that
lot of the times when they're the the ridiculous acts, like I'm not as concerned about the safety shit as I am the
Right. Correct.
inhumane treatment of animals. If these guys want to
Yep.
blow their freaking heads off, I guess, but like, uh, I won't finish that thought, but, uh, yeah, I often feel like when these guys are engaged in some horrible act of
Yeah.
causing an animal unnecessary fear and pain, they wouldn't even be
Yep.
doing it if the plan wasn't to post it on social media. It's I don't.
Correct.
There's got to be a contingent of people out there that are still operating like at a fourth grade level, where you go out with your BB gun and like
Yep.
wing songbirds and chipmunks, and just
Yep.
throw them in just leave them lay, just shoot them, and like,
Yeah.
I don't know.
That's
I guess
the
I had
sad
a
part
little
about
bit of that. I never had let animals suffer more than
Correct.
they had to, but I would shoot stuff that I had no intention to eat,
For sure.
so that
Yeah, when you're a kid and you got a BB gun and you're a boy, you shoot stuff. But these people take it to a whole different level of like and people like to blame it and they say, "Oh, it's just this younger generation." I see it in every walk of life. That guide was in his mid 30s, early 40s, and he's doing this crap. But there was the one group that I had that I did a video on that it sounded like the beginning of a joke. It was literally a pastor, a teacher, and a lawyer. And they were out goose hunting. They shot a goose and wounded it, and then they were taking it and using it as a goose call by squeezing its guts as they were trying to harvest other geese.
and it's
On
still
the end of
alive.
their Yep, yep. And at the end of their hunt, they decided that when they had their pile pick on the back of the back of their tailgate, they had the goose still alive 4 hours later standing next to the pile like it was some big medal of honor that it
Un
lasted 4 hours without killing it.
Unbelievable.
So that one was turned over to I believe it was I think that one was Pennsylvania Fish and Game. So all 3 of them were cited, and, one of the 3 lost their job. So, not like I'm trying to make people lose jobs, but there are consequences to actions, and if people are willing to stand up for what's right, that's what we should be
Well,
doing, in my opinion.
yeah, yeah. Well, there's so many ways in which it's it's wrong.
For sure.
One of them is it's just immoral. No matter,
Yep,
I can't imagine a moral framework within which it's okay to cause unnecessary fear and pain
yep.
to an animal
Psychotic behavior. Yeah.
yeah, to an animal. Um,
Yep.
I have this thing where it's like it's easier for me to have sympathy for an animal than it is a human because I just think of them as so fucking innocent, you know?
Mhm. Yep. And we have all the skill and everything else to pursue them, and they only have whatever limited resources they have at their disposal to get away from us, and we have
Mhm.
more firepower and everything else to go up pursue them. So yeah, it's like when if I wound an animal, I'm sick to my stomach until I take care of that animal. if you don't have that, you shouldn't be hunting.
If I,
In my
yeah,
opinion.
if
Yeah,
I could have a premonition and go, this is not going to go well if you shoot,
yeah,
you'll
yeah,
get it, but there's going
yeah,
to be a lot of pain. And I just wouldn't shoot, even if I knew I'd
yeah.
get it eventually, I'd be like, nah, if this ain't going to go well, I'm not going to do it. Um,
And what?
and then the other one, so there's what makes it wrong is it's just not, it's inhumane to cause
You know,
unnecessary pain and fear. The other one is that shit reflects on all of us, man. And it's
100%.
like,
Yep.
it's awfully presumptuous to think that I want to be lumped together with people that shoot a crane and then carry it around half alive, half dead,
Mhm.
or this duck goose decoy alive thing, you know?
The thing I'm
And
seeing
it's
lately.
just, and the fact that people, the standard bearers of hunting, the people
Yep.
that make money off of it, do it for a living, are involved in a nonprofit, make content, sell gear, don't say shit. Don't say
Nope.
shit about that. Is so cowardly, man.
Yep. 100%. No, the amount of trending stuff in the waterfall world of what we're seeing on social media with people just throwing snow geese in a dumpster, not even making an attempt to even harvest them. You find boat launches where it's like full straps of mallards where somebody took out 2 breasts out of a mallard and left 12 lay there. Just waste, not want them, no, have no recourse for, like, you're going out there, you're getting your picture and you're going home, and those things that you just killed are worthless to you. You're not a
Mm,
hunter. You have something physically wrong with your brain, and take up a different hobby, take up knitting or something. But there's more and more of that. When one of them becomes popular online, these kids emulate it. And
yeah,
then what I
yeah,
get, yeah, and what I get in my DMs is, I get a 16, 17, 18-year-old kid messaging me and saying, like, "My all my friends do this with their Canada geese. We take our picture and they dump them in a dumpster. Like, how do I even approach it? What do I do?" I'm like, "Well, first off, find new damn friends, but, if you wanna approach it from a man perspective, tell them to either grow up and utilize the stuff or you shouldn't be hunting it in the first place." So,
yeah,
there's a lot of that stuff that I get sent my way, and I try to really I don't have kids, so I have nieces and nephews, don't have kids, so me being able to help the next generation of hunters be ethical is answering those DMs and helping them how I see fit in each different scenario to be like, you just gotta get yourself out of this situation and find people that wanna do it the right way, and if you wanna take it further, if it warrants it, turn them in. If you weren't a
yeah.
part of it, and you know that stuff's going on, handle it at hand so that stuff doesn't happen going forward. That's what makes you a sportsman.
You're the Dear Abby of hunting.
Kind of, yeah.
That's awesome. That's a great role to play, and you gotta have some. I don't know. It's just touching that there's these young fellas that see that there's something wrong with that, and like,
Yeah,
you
and,
know,
I mean, they see the
I
videos that I'm putting. Yeah. They see the
I
videos that I'm
go
putting
ahead.
out there. They see the videos that I'm putting out there, and they kinda see it from, like, "Oh my gosh, I've dealt with that." I make it about real life things so that I'm not trying to sell you a stupid turtle box. I'm not trying to get you to wear the right camo. I'm not trying to force all those things down your throat as a young hunter. I'm just saying, "Look, man, that's totally wrong and you shouldn't be doing that." And that's why I get so many kids reaching out to me just wanting advice on that stuff.
Yeah, that's cool. That is really, really cool. Um, wait, that's that's important work you're doing. I can't imagine throwing a Canada goose away on multiple levels, but one of them is because they're one of my favorite foods.
All right.
Oh, you don't think of them as like high cuisine?
I don't hunt a lot of geese. I'm primarily a duck guy. That's kinda what I
Mm,
pursue. I like snow geese. I don't we don't get them in good numbers here for Canadas for me to like if I do shoot them, I what I do with them is I incorporate them with duck meat and I get them made into wild rice and mushroom goose brats.
Oh, that'd be
Yeah.
oh, I could see that being really good. So
Yeah, there's a
you
place
like
in
to
town
pick
here that does them to where they add chicken thigh meat in with the duck and goose meat, and they make them into wild rice and mushroom broths, and so they're pretty good in that respect.
oh. Oh, that sounds good. My favorite way to cook a goose is to cut the breast, thigh, and wing off of each side.
Okay.
So you got that one piece, and
Yep.
then beat the ever living shit out of it with a meat mallet until
Eh,
it's all like a uniform kind of, maybe a half inch thick. Even you're beating around the bone of the leg to get that all flattened
yep.
out. Then marinate that in some olive oil and lemon, and then whatever seasoning you want to put on there, some
Sure.
Lowry's and pepper, whatever, and then put that
Yeah.
on the grill. Cook it medium
Good
rare,
stuff.
pull it off, and slice it thin.
Sure.
I've converted so many people that didn't think they like geese. This is with the skin on. I forgot to
Sure.
mention
Yeah.
that.
Yep.
So, do you think I've never eaten a snow goose. Do you think that they're not as good at eating? I mean, you're not like
Oh,
crazy.
I love snow goose. I'd prefer
Okay.
them over
O-
Canada's. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. I
Yep.
always kind of suspected that was BS, you know, but I don't
But I also
here's the thing, this is gonna blow your mind a little bit probably, but I don't really enjoy waterfowl hunting a whole bunch. I go out a few times a year because I like eating them so much.
sure. For me, the whole lure of bird hunting is just being a deer hunter growing up, and obviously, if you're either gonna see a buck or a doe. That's pretty much it. The waterfall aspect of it is as the time change and the seasons change, you don't know what to expect in that marsh from day to day, whether it's just gonna be mallards and wood ducks, if it's gonna be divers, if it's gonna be widgeons and gadwalls coming down. So that's the part that lures me in, and I like the fact of calling and watching them work, and I don't sky blast ducks, I shoot them in the decoys. So if I have a good pass of ducks and they're too high, I just keep figuring out what I'm doing wrong to get them to come in and land properly. Because half the battle of the hunt is getting them to do exactly what you wanted them to do, and when that happens, then I feel like that hunt was 100% what I wanted to do and enjoyed about everything of it. So,
Yeah, Justin, I hunt for the same reasons you do.
yeah,
Well, food is one, but the other one that was embedded in everything you just said
yeah.
is curiosity.
Oh, for
That's
sure.
what, like, I wonder if I tried this. I
Yep,
wonder what will be in the swamp this year, you
yep,
know? I wonder if we tried over there, you know? Um,
yeah,
it's that element of it that's made it as how you say it's maintained its appeal to me because of that curiosity.
yep.
And
Yeah, that now
I think that's a
I'm to
like an element of a fully fledged hunter is that
yeah,
aspect of it. Like
my
there's a
thing is
part of
when
me
I
that
got
goes, I am so damn when I send people to spots, like friends of mine to, oh, go try this spot. It was pretty good
yep.
for deer or elk or ducks or whatever. I'm like, I get 50% of the enjoyment just by hearing the report,
Oh, for sure. When
you
that phone
know?
buzzes.
Because that's such a huge part of what makes it captivating to me is just knowing what it's going to be like in there this time.
Yep.
You know?
Now my this year I took my dad waterfall hunting for the first time ever, and never hunted ducks before, never been in a marsh before, just a deer hunter. He retired this year and he wanted to I talk about it all the time religiously nonstop. So he's just like, just show me what it's about. And then I took him out there and everything happened the way it should. We got some ducks and couple days later he's just like, so when can you take me again? And I'm like, ah, gotcha.
Well, he's got a lot more time to kill now.
Correct, yep, and my mom even said that, he talked about it for a couple days, and it was something to obviously, my 65-year-old dad's not gonna be, getting in the marsh at 3 in the morning and beating me to spots and stuff like that, but it was cool to see it from a perspective of somebody had a passion for hunting his whole life and then tried something new in his 60s that he could enjoy with me, and I could open his eyes to a whole new portion of what I do and what I like to do in the hunting world, so it was really cool in that respect.
Do you still hunt deer?
Yeah, yep.
Okay. Okay. All right. Good.
Yeah,
That's good. That's
my
good to
parents
hear.
have some property my parents have some property in the middle of the state that, uncle owns a piece, my dad owns a piece, so I private land hunt deer in that kinda respect, but, if, the rut and the migration hit at the same time, I'm in the marsh. I don't run around and
Mhm.
chase deer anymore during the rut because it's just where my heart lies with ducks and that kind of stuff. So
Yeah. Yeah. Um, all right. I'm gonna ask this question because you are kind of in the know on like duck, the duck culture. I've heard that there's a lot of property that, or some amount of property that Ducks Unlimited controls, owns, what have you, where they only let their high end donors hunt it. Is that true?
I wouldn't say around Wisconsin, I haven't noticed that. That might be more of a southern aspect of it. But all of the DU properties in Wisconsin here, I have access to that I'm
Okay.
able to go on
That's
any of
good to
them.
hear. That's
Um,
good to hear.
yeah, anything up here that is like for our university hunt program, we were a Delta group taking out new hunters, and we were hunting on a DU property.
Okay.
That
Oh, that's
they
good. That's good.
yeah,
So they're doing some good. You know,
correct. So
yeah, that's one thing. I'm skeptical of these big nonprofits, hugely skeptical. But when I hear
yep,
that they're doing something, that's good. But like some
yep,
people get mad when you call them out. They're like, Ducks Unlimited has done so much good. And maybe they're an above board organization, but like, well, they're not completely above board for the thing that I was telling you earlier. But I
yeah,
mean, uh, if you're if you're like pilfering off 80 cents on the dollar for advertising in R3 to satisfy your corporate sponsors,
mhm,
you're still doing some good, but it's not like you can go like that's laudable. I mean,
right. Imagine what you could do if you
you
weren't
devote,
utilizing it
yeah,
that much. Yeah,
yeah. Bernie
yeah,
Madoff and Jeffrey Epstein did a lot of good too. And Harvey Weinstein, they all donated a bunch of money to nonprofits,
yeah.
you know,
Look where that got them.
philanthropic work. Are we gonna be like, yeah, Bernie Madoff, he did a lot of good. Don't be coming down hard on it, Bernie. Come on.
Right, right,
Um, it should all be going to the cause.
for sure.
Any other thoughts?
No, not really. I mean, today was an interesting day for me. I've never done something like
Oh
that
yeah, yeah,
before.
yeah, 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 yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. That's cool. You
that
had a lot of. I
yeah,
mean, this is like, well, you podcast. You have your own podcast,
yeah,
so that's not like anything new. But yeah, you went to and weighed in on on an issue like that. Like Tim, for me, this is my advocacy. Hunt Quietly and our nonprofit Hunters for Access is
yep,
it. And so I don't
yep,
do I don't weigh in on any legislative issues anymore.
sure.
Like I might say, hey, We shouldn't be selling off 3 million acres of federal land. That's a bad idea, you know.
Yeah.
But I don't go to the Capitol or whatever. I don't have any more freaking energy to spend on this.
Yeah.
Every night this
No,
week, every single night this week is either a Hunters for Access meeting or a Hunt Quietly thing.
sure.
I don't know if I'm making any difference at all with any of this, you know.
I think you are.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it. But it's just like I don't what I was getting at was like I don't want to make it sound like I think I'm doing like it's important or anything or that I'm saving the world. I'm just saying whether or not it has
Yeah.
a positive impact or not, it's still taking a hell of a
Sure.
lot of my time, you know.
Oh, it takes a lot of time. Yes, I will give you that 100%. From doing this stuff to, being a committee chair for Delta and then doing my own podcast stuff and all the other
Yeah.
avenues that I
Yeah.
do.
Yeah.
It takes and doing a full-time job on top of it, it
What
takes a
is your
lot.
job? What do you do for a living?
So I'm a retail manager. I've been in
Okay.
retail management for a very, very long time. I've been in that far too long than I care to talk about. But prior to that, I worked for the for fisheries biology for the Department of Natural Resources, and then I was a police officer for Clark County Sheriff's Department for a few years. And I was gonna piggyback that into being a warden, and it was just something that life takes us down different paths sometimes and just wasn't the right thing for me. And so I got out of that stuff. I'm good at what I do now and I have extra time to do this kind of stuff. So that's a course that I took with my life. So getting out of the law enforcement piece of it.
Yeah. If you're a game warden, you don't get much time to go hunting.
That part too. Yeah, there's that.
Um, well, you and I are natural allies, I would say,
Well,
and um, I I'd also so one thing, you know, so I guess I'm mentioning that by way of saying if there's anything I can do to help you, I mean, for sure, please continue to send me things that like when we need to police our community, things that I can help with there,
sure.
you know, I'm more than happy to do that. But if there are other ways I can help, please
Absolutely.
keep me in mind because you know, I'm rooting for you, man. It's just heartening when you encounter people that see issues and are trying to address them
Yeah.
in the hunting sphere, you know. So
Same thing right back at you, man.
yeah, yeah, and keep helping these youngsters figure out how to navigate the modern waterfowl world without being little douchebags, you know?
That can be an uphill battle some days, but
Yeah,
yes,
yeah,
it's definitely one thing I've noticed between the culture of like the deer hunting culture, turkey hunting culture, waterfowl, and all the like. There's they each have their own different little subtleties of asshats, to say it lightly, that want to do things their way or want to belittle people in that respect. So it's kind of like I just wish there would be a course corrector, a reset to get us back to what traditional hunting should be about.
yeah,
Um, I I use social media. I'm waiting for its downfall, but in the meantime, I'll utilize it for good where I see fit and call people out in that respect. But waterfall culture needs to change before we lose it all. It's just
yeah,
there's so much of the negativity aspect of it. Um, Obviously, all these nonprofits are going to shine the light on their rainbows and puppy kisses and not really tell you all the back channels of how bad it can be on public land and overcrowding and all this stuff. But if I could have my little piece in it and try to change some minds and persuade some kids to do stuff the right way, I think that's my calling that I seek to get out of all this. So
yeah.
that's what I'll be doing going forward.
And you have some power. Like you have a platform and you're
Yep.
not constrained in what you can say because there's not financial consequences to anything you say.
Sure.
So,
Yep.
you should feel good about that, and I talk with the president of Montana HFA, Hunters for Access. He's one of my best friends, and we talk all the time about, could you imagine what the world would be like if people didn't, on occasion, do the right thing for free?
Yeah, exactly. Yep,
I think society,
100%.
the major strides in society are a product of people doing the right thing for free. So,
Yep.
all right, Justin, thank you so much. And best of luck to you. Let's stay in touch.
Sound good. Appreciate it, Matt.
All right. Good night.